What's up, Agents for Life? Welcome to podcast number 247, where we're going to talk about dialing. Okay. We haven't talked about this in a while, I realized, and there's a lot of new agents. You know who you are, right? And I'm super excited for you, super proud of you for taking this giant step. But we get all excited, we get through the training, we get some leads, and then it's like that phone is like 500 pounds. Anybody feeling it? Okay, that's what we're talking about today. I've got some ideas on how to have a great dial session and actually how to enjoy it, how to have fun. I've had some really fun dial sessions, and I know it sounds controversial or against the grain because we talk about dialing as kind of this chore that we have to do, but you know what? You can choose to get to do it. It can actually be fun. So I'm going to jump in. I've got some tips for you. But before I do, quick announcement. This Friday, I'm going to be in Ohio. Okay, we're still going to try and have our accountability call, but I'm going to be on the road, so it'll be interesting. We're going to see how it goes. But if I'm on the phone or I'm not live on camera or something, you'll know. Maybe I don't have a good signal. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I'm going to be, but we're still going to try the accountability call. So don't forget and tune into that training. I think we're going to be broadcasting some of it live or recording some. We're going to be bringing the group in. I hope you can be there, but if you can't, tie in as much as you can. Follow on Telegram and see where we post links. It's going to be awesome. Okay. All right. Just a quick mic drop thought for the week. I love this. This is a story of a guy who was failing high school and he took his test, the SAT test, and he gets the score back and he looks at it and it's like 1480 and he's like, holy cow. Like, which is, I guess, genius level. I don't know. I never took this SAT, but that's a really high score. And from then on, he was like, oh my gosh, like maybe I'm not a failure. And he started, his grades improved. He went on and got a degree at a college, a very prestigious college. And he went on to found it. He was a CEO of one of the most successful magazines in the world, the successful magazine entrepreneurs. And so, but it was later in life, it was years later that he found out it was a mistake. That wasn't really his score. But all this chain of events happened because he thought of himself differently. He looked at himself differently. He didn't see himself as that failure. He saw himself as a genius, an SAT genius. And so it made me realize what would happen if we tricked ourselves, quote unquote, into believing we're more than maybe we are on paper or we are, in real life, because God gave us unlimited potential and we can use as much of that as we want. And if we see ourselves as maybe God sees us, even though we don't have the evidence quite yet, maybe we'll act a little different. Maybe we'll walk around with our heads a little bit higher, a little bit bigger posture, a little bit stronger confidence, you know? Anyways, I just thought that was an interesting story. We live into what we believe about ourselves. So change the level of belief. All right. Let's get into our training. Nuts and bolts, right? Here we go. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about dialing because dialing actually can be fun. I've had dreaded dial sessions and I've had fun dial sessions. And you know what? The major difference was just right here, just right here, how I approached it, how I thought about it. Oh, got a dial this morning. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Okay. You know, or awesome. We're going to book some appointments and we're going to set up our week so that I can make a lot of money this week and I can protect a lot of families this week, right? Same dial session, same phone numbers, same leads, different attitude. So, first thing, and these are just little thoughts that I put together, just some tips on how to have an amazingly smooth dial session, how to relax. Okay. Because I know sometimes we get all uptight. Okay. This first one is if you're super nervous, it's probably because you're thinking too much about your commission and not enough about the client. Let me serve that up in another way. Let me unpack that for you. If you truly like, let's say that you know, if I can't think of anything else other than this off the top of my head, a house is burning down and you have a key to open the door to let the people out. Are you nervous about reaching out to them saying, "Hey, I got something I can help"? Guys, what we have helps people Maybe that's a bad analogy, but you can see my point. If we're truly there to help them, we're not apologetic or nervous or tiptoeing, or we're like, boom, they are in an emergency and I have what they need. And I am here to help them. I'm here to rescue them. So if you're thinking too much about your commission, it's all about you. And that does make you nervous, because what if you don't make a sale? You're not going to make any money, right? And then you get nervous. I got to make a sale. I got to make a contact. I got to make an appointment. Okay. All right. So enough about you. It's not about you, it's about them. So go in with a spirit of service. How can you help them? Put yourself in their shoes when you're calling them. They're going through stuff too, right? They're a family. They put their pants one leg at a time, just like you do. So forget your commission. It's all about them. That's the first tip. Number two, smile and have fun. I never did this because I didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't. But some agents really suggest put a mirror up right by your computer monitor. And as you're dialing, look in the mirror and smile at yourself. It comes through in your voice when you're talking, but a smile, and you see yourself smile, it just makes you feel better. It releases the endorphins, right? You can't help it. It's how our bodies are wired. Makes you feel a little bit happier, raises your level of endorphinology. And just smile when you dial. Dial and smile, smile and dial. That's it. So it also helps you have a good attitude. So create the fun. I said I put down smile and have fun, but then create the fun. Sometimes you got to bring the fun. Sometimes you got to have that extra energy when you dial. And I'm not saying being hyper and being salesy, okay? But I am saying, like, look for ways to relate to people. You know, you should have heard Tanya on the training this morning. Maybe somewhere you on there, but she did a great job talking about how she just relates to people. They say something and she just has fun with it and she just goes with it. And she says off the wall comments sometimes and kind of laughs at herself a little bit. It's a little goofy. It's okay, right? Let your hair down a little bit. Have fun, right? Just have fun. Number three, remember that you have nothing to lose. Okay. I call this the net zero. You started out not having an appointment. You call them, worst case scenario, they don't book an appointment with you. You end not having an appointment. So, did you follow my logic? Do you see what happened there? You didn't gain anything, you didn't lose anything. A lot of times we think when we hang up the phone and they didn't book that we lost. I should have had an appointment, I lost it. Well, it's technically not true. You never had the appointment in the first place. You just never got it. So you ended up back exactly where you were before you called. So what does that mean? Shoot, when I dial, I can only gain. I can't lose. Now, some of you are thinking, yeah, but if somebody yells at me, then you lose. Well, you know what? Maybe, but I don't let that affect me. And that's a choice that you make. That's on them. They're having a bad day. You know, that's not going to be, and I'm sorry, we have to hear that sometimes as agents. We do. That's part of the job and part of the job description and part of why we get paid very handsomely, because, you know, some calls aren't very fun. Some people get irritated. Okay. You know, but what are they going to do? To date, nobody's come through the phone and strangled me. Never heard of an agent getting hurt because they made a call and somebody came through the phone at them. Like, it doesn't happen. So water off a duck's back, smile, wish them a good day, hang up, don't do business with them. You don't want that client on your roster. If somebody's rude, you take the posture, you take the reins, and you can control saying, you know what, this doesn't feel like a good fit. I'm going to go ahead and close out your case. Good luck with everything. Take that confidence, take it away from them, and you can be the one that rises above it and keeps that posture in place. So remember that you have nothing to lose. I love it. The next tip, gamify. Gamify. Get a contest, get a running buddy, meet somebody in Telegram and get a running buddy and try and do a competition, a friendly competition. We're going to dial on your mark, get set, go. And we're going to see who can get the most appointments in the next hour. I don't know. You know, I also heard of people getting 2 containers and you fill one of them with what are they? Paper clips or marbles or something, some small item. And every time you dial, you just move one over just like that until it's full. And so it just gives you something to, again, you're gamifying it. You're just creating some little element that keeps you engaged, keeps you going, and keeps your mind off of wandering into that stale place of, oh, I gotta dial. I gotta dial. Oh my gosh, this is so awful, right? So we don't want to go there. So gamify it, have fun, create something that keeps you engaged. That little paperclip game or friendly competition, those are different ways you can do that. Number 5, this is my last tip, and you can come up with your own after this. There's a lot more, I'm sure. Number 5, get past the first 10 or 20 because they're the toughest. So if you start a dial session, okay, you got to commit to at least 20, I'm going to say at least 20 minutes worth of dialing. I don't know where it is or when it is, but there is a point at which the dialing starts to become a lot more pleasant, a lot easier to do, a lot more natural because you've gone over the hump. Okay, there's this hump concept in dialing that I don't know if we can articulate. Maybe it's just kind of an idea, but once you get over it, you'll feel it and you'll know. I've had dial sessions that started out rough. I'm like, I do not want to be here. There's 100 other things I'd rather be doing. I made myself dial. I had to make myself dial because I knew if I didn't, I wouldn't have any appointments. And I knew if I didn't have appointments, I'm not writing any business. I'm not making any money. So I got to do it, right? It's the number one item on your job description when you're a new agent is dialing the people. That's it. So I got in, and that started off rocky, but guess what? By 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, or when I had kind of scheduled my dial session to wrap up, I was like racing to get more in because the clock was, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm almost out of time. I got to get like, I'm gonna try and get like 10 more. I got like 10 more, hurry. And I'm just like hustling, right? And even going over like 5 or 10 or 15 minutes because I had this momentum, I had this mojo, and I was actually enjoying some of these conversations. Like, people are people, and some of them are funny, and people have senses of humor. And yes, some of them are mean, but you know what? We don't worry about those. There's a lot of nice people out there. There's a lot of happy people, and there's a lot of people, frankly, who would really like what you sell as long as you're willing to call them and let them know about it. So that's what we have to do. So change your mindset. If you're under that negative umbrella, that little black ring cloud, that dialing is awful and it's terrible and it's no fun and I got to do it and it's a chore and it's drudgery and so forth. What if we just tweak it a little bit? What if you shift your perspective and see how fun it could be and convince yourself, you know what? I can actually enjoy this. Because if it's your number one most important thing that you do as an Equus agent, then why not at least try to shift the perception and make it something that's pleasant to do and actually have some fun stories doing it? Because once you get good at dialing, you're putting people on your calendar 10, 15, 20 a week. Watch out. You're going to be making a lot of money. So hopefully that's helpful. Put some of those tips into practice. Go out and have an awesome dial session. Do it every day and get good at it and get used to just reaching out and talking to people. And you'll have a lot of fun doing it. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.